So at the start of this year, I, a 34-year-old female, was happily living my life when I get this odd Facebook request from a girl I didn't recognize at all. I went to the profile and noticed we had like 70 friends in common, but I also noticed these were friends that would not be mutual to anybody I know around me. They were in different countries, cities, social circles, etc. So I knew something was up. I also noticed the profile had been created in 2012. But nothing has been posted since then. I messaged the person, "Hi, I don't remember you. Where did we meet?" I got no answer for like 2 weeks. At the time I was feeling really distracted by Facebook and unsettled by this friend request, so I closed my Facebook. Around a week later, I get text on my phone telling me to be careful, that someone was speaking badly about me. The next day, a friend calls me up to let me know this girl had posted a picture of me, saying I was a bitch who had an affair with her boyfriend, that I would do anything for a bottle of beer. A bunch of my friends were commenting, defending me. She replied calling me abusive, saying I never graduated university, and the usual bitch/jerk insults. She replies to my message, although my account is closed. The messenger is still active, calling me a bitch again. I also get a message from another account telling me something very bad would happen, and that people were talking shit about me. I proceed to block and report her in this other account. Many of my friends reported her profile and post. However, it was not removed. Instead, she closes it on her own. I think because several people start commenting negatively on her post. Time passes, no sign of her. My Facebook is still closed and I am happy. 1 month ago, she opens the account again. The picture and comments still there, and starts sending requests to all my friends. I'm again alerted about this. I report it to Facebook, and the post stayed up for 3 days. Some of my friends message her. She replies telling them that I've been with her boyfriend. Sometimes she says her husband, and I was a bitch. A few days later, I got a message from a third account with fake screenshots of chats she supposedly had with my friends. The message also says she is threatening to go to my house and hit me. More friends alert me. She is sending them messages asking for information about me with the usual insults and story about her husband/boyfriend. By this point, she has amassed 3,000 of my friends. Additionally, she lets them know she will be creating a blog about me, showing inappropriate pictures of me, which I don't even have. Sure enough, a couple of days ago, she created the blog, showing any picture of me she could find. The screenshots of fake chats with friends, and also naming random bars where I could be found drinking. She floods all Facebook groups, pages, and events in my small city with a link to this blog and the usual insults about me. She sends the link to the blog to every account she can find, at least I imagine. I guess that after a bunch of people reported the account, it was closed. However, the 2 others continued posting the blog link everywhere they can. I also received texts asking me to kill myself and letting me know this isn't even the beginning. I have no idea how to make this stop, and I am somewhat afraid this person moves from the online world to the real world. I have no idea who this is. The behavior she describes is fake and doesn't even make sense. At this point, I hope he or she just gets into an accident that doesn't allow him or her to move for months, and I hope to never meet her or him again, be it in real life or in virtual life. Dear anonymous stalker, may we never meet again in any way. I moved to South Korea for university when I turned 18. I'm 21 now, and this happened over 2 years ago. While being there, I definitely experienced some unwanted attention from some guys in the past. Most of them get the message that I'm not interested. This, however, was a little more unsettling. The university I go to is the Institute for Language, which is where all my classes were at the time, and it's pretty common knowledge that most foreigners to Korea usually go there or study at that institute. It's not abnormal for me to receive random Facebook requests from guys wanting to, quote, learn English or, quote, make foreign friends, and most of the time I just ignore them unless we have a few mutual friends or I've met them before. I got a friend request from this guy named Nico. We had quite a handful of mutual friends, and he'd messaged me too saying he was sorry for the randomness of the request, but he was just trying to make as many foreign friends as he could. I thought what the hell and accepted the message, and messaged him back saying it was no bother. From what I could tell by his Facebook photos, He was heavily pierced and tattooed and stated he was Japanese, but studied in Canada and could speak good English, and also a foreigner studying at my university. After a few days, he'd message me again and I would reply, and it was just casual conversation, and he would often bring up maybe meeting for a coffee or movie, which I always declined, until he started getting more aggressive for no reason. Every time I'd make a comment, he'd find some way to turn it into an argument, which grew tiring super fast, so I just started to ignore him. He'd often ask if I had a boyfriend, to which I'd reply no, and he'd bluntly say that we should be together. It was at this point where I decided I didn't want anything to do with him, so I politely declined on the basis I didn't know him. We'd never met, and we haven't even known each other for longer than a week yet. He didn't take my refusal well and began throwing insults at me based on my looks, and saying overly graphic things he'd do to me if he ever saw me. Apparently, I was being stupid not to take him up on the offer because I'd never do better than him, and he'd make me see that. It creeps me out beyond belief, so I just blocked and deleted him on Facebook and tried to forget about it. I mentioned it to a friend of mine and she immediately knew exactly who I was talking about. Apparently I was not the first girl he added on Facebook and tried to bully into meeting him and being his girlfriend. After asking a few more of my friends who we'd had as mutual friends on Facebook, they all had pretty similar situations involving him. One girl even told me she had given him the benefit of the doubt and met with him, and it turned out he didn't even go to our university, but actually lived over an hour away and would travel there daily, probably to watch and obsess over which girl he could find on Facebook next. He told her he was born in America and never been to Japan, yet he told me he was Japanese and studied in Canada, so who knows how much of what he said to anyone was actually true. I felt a bit freaked out by this, but tried not to let it bother me. I never seen him around, and I blocked him, so I forgot about it. That was until about a week or two later, I received a message from him on Facebook on another account saying how he had seen me that day at school, which shook me up since I haven't even considered that he might be actually watching me at school. I ignored the message and blocked the account. A few days later, I got numerous messages from different accounts claiming to be Nico's friends, saying how he had his account hacked, and could I please unblock him so he could explain and we could talk it over. I ignored those messages too, but I kept receiving more, all of which I'm pretty sure were just Nico himself trying to reach out to me to get my attention. The more I ignored them, the more violent and aggressive the messages became, and I could tell most of the time when he'd seen me he was lying. He'd say things like, "I saw you today at the library. You were there all day. You ugly four-eyed loser," and other messages to that extent. I knew he was clutching at straws because I never use the school's library to study, and although I wear glasses, I never wear them in public, so I just kept blocking the accounts and tried not to let it bother me. I figured he'd get bored of me soon enough and let it go, until one day after classes, I had finished up, and I was browsing the small convenience store in the building to grab a drink on my way home. I opened up the fridge to get a bottle of water, and when I closed the door, he was literally standing right behind me. He didn't say anything, he was just staring at me. I hadn't seen him in person before because I never agreed to meet him, but I knew straight away it was him, and I freaked out. I dropped the bottle and just left the store. I didn't walk home because I was afraid he'd follow me and find out where I lived, so I just went back into school and stayed around where there was lots of people until a friend of mine came to meet me. After that, I saw him a handful of times when I'd leave class. He'd just be standing there doing nothing in particular, watching people as they walked past, and he'd stare at me intently. I made sure to always be with my friends when I went to and from class, and didn't go anywhere alone for a while, but after a week or so, the messages stopped, and I didn't see him again. The last time I heard from him was about a year ago when he messaged me on yet a new Facebook account, asking if we could be friends again because he'd changed, and it was all a joke. Needless to say, I ignored the message, blocked the account, and will not be taking up his offer on being friends. So Nico, you creepy stalker, let's not meet. Yesterday I was at a local coffee shop to study for an exam. I was sitting at a long table, and at some point, a guy asked if he could sit on the other end. He's working on his computer, and at some point asked me what I'm studying for. I tell him. He leaves for a smoke break, and When he comes back, he asked me if I liked his blog post. I have no idea what he's talking about, so I put on my glasses to read the title, Basic White Bitches. I told him I didn't know what he was talking about and go back to my studying. When I pack up to leave, he asked me for my Instagram handle. I don't think much of it. I live in a friendly neighborhood, so I told him and left. About an hour later, I see that he added me and look at his WordPress blog that's linked into his bio. His most recent post is titled, This White Girl at the Coffee Shop, describing how he believes that I got onto his computer, scrolled down to read his blog post on how he hates white women, and then lied about it. I commented on the blog post saying I didn't touch his computer, then I blocked him on Instagram. Not too worried about it since I don't frequent that coffee joint. It seemed like some weird one-off encounter. Today I find an email in my inbox from the guy. Guess he got my email from the comment I made. You didn't have to tell me your Instagram username if you're uncomfortable. I was just being friendly, but blocking me after giving me your username? That's just petty. I'm definitely not interested in or attached to you. I have a girlfriend, so I see no reason for you to feel uncomfortable. Am I not wrong? So who did snoop on my laptop anyway? Surely you saw who did it if you were sitting 5 feet away. After I followed you, what made you click on the link to my blog if you knew nothing about it? I've clicked on a WordPress link. Everyone hates random people's blogs. You wouldn't have clicked on it if you didn't already know where it was going. I'm not even interested in this topic anymore. I'm bored. I just like to drag things on for the hell of it. You can keep trying to cover it up, but I know how people work. I'm not even mad. I'm just slightly entertained that you are persistent in your lies. Anyway, I'm gonna dip the hell out of here. Don't want to make you, quote, uncomfortable, end quote, or anything. My advice to you is don't give out your Instagram username if you're just gonna freaking block them. Wasting my time and yours. Millennials are too goddamn shy, and I'm here to make a difference. No kid my age will open their mouth to a random stranger, so I have to take up the slack of everyone my age. Later, I'm bored AF. Then he put his name, and then, don't at me. That was the email. I hate everything. When I was in 8th through 10th grade, I was extremely involved in this small building Minecraft server. The average age was probably 15 through 17, and I joined a group of builders and Skyped with them every weekend for hours. We had all become close fast and trusted each other enough that we can follow each other on Instagram. I became particularly close with one of those builders in my friend group named Peter. Peter was in the same grade as me, and we ended up texting quite a lot. I heard rumors that Peter might have a crush on me. He denied them, which I found laughable because it was the internet, and brushed it off. Everything was fine for a while until something began to feel off when I talked to him. I was starting to constantly catch him telling small lies. This bothered me, so I figured it was time to distance myself from Peter and stop talking to him. Cut to a few months later of no contact, and Peter out of the blue texts me that he's going to be possibly transferring to my high school so he can get in-state tuition for college. Peter's plan is to somehow live completely alone and support himself while in high school. My stomach drops when I read the text, and I know this feels very off. I try to be calm and tell him that his plan is crazy. I tell him that it's oddly convenient that he chose my random suburb. Peter insists that his plan will work, and it's just a coincidence that he's going to my high school. I'm trying to call Peter's bluff and hoping he's just screwing with me because I cut him off. Peter says he bought the plane tickets already and is going to stay in my town and to visit some high schools in the area. Fear washes over me when I realize Peter definitely has some unhealthy attachment to me. Peter was not bluffing. To my horror, he posts a picture on Snapchat at the airport. Peter asks to meet up while he's there, and I of course decline. Later, I see him on his Snapchat story that he has taken a tour of my high school. Peter's taking lots of videos and pictures, probably hoping I can see. Luckily, I'm stuck at home with the flu. I spent the next few days on edge and afraid he was going to ring my doorbell at any moment. Luckily, he was not smart enough to find where I live, and he flies home and does not follow up on his plan. The baffling part is, none of my old group on the Minecraft server thought he was doing anything creepy. I felt like I was going crazy for thinking this was weird. I thought my rejection for this meetup and continued no contact would be the end of it. But about 2 years later, I just got into my dream college, and I stupidly followed Peter on social media because I wanted some warning if he came to my area. Once again, Peter did. I see him posting in front of the library at my college with a caption saying, "Transferring here is definitely the move." Cut to a few months later. Peter finds out I had a boyfriend and directly contacts me for the first time in 2 years. He starts asking me strange questions like, "Will he protect you?" I shouldn't have answered, but for some reason I did. I finally blocked him and stopped following him on social media out of fear. He has not tried to contact me since. Definitely made some mistakes because I was young and scared, and others telling me it was not a big deal. So Peter, let's not meet.